Welcome to Dr. Fred Bell's Health, Science, and Energy Show. We have a very special guest tonight, Judge David Wynn Miller. And also welcome to all the people down in Tampa Bay at www.tantalk1340radio.com and all 1,400 and 1,380 above ground stations and other affiliates that are now tuned in. And my guest has been on this show before. He's a very knowledgeable person on the true freedoms and the true restrictions of law. He's been on, I guess this is his third appearance, and he's backed by popular demand. My special hello for my friends in Nevada. Judge Miller, hello. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing fine. This is my about 320th radio show since 1993.
Wow. So you did three. This is your third one with me, I believe, now.
Yes.
That's good. So I wish I could have listened to the other 390 of them.
Yeah, there's a few hours out there.
Yeah. So tell us what we're going to tell our audience, what we're going to be talking about tonight.
All right. Tonight we're going to be talking about the jurisdiction of what a court is. Now, all of you, when you go into court, you believe that the judge has jurisdiction, that you believe the courthouse is an area that is a community building where you go to solve your problems. The truth of the matter is a courthouse is a vessel in dry dock controlled by the port authorities. The word court means a closed area. The word United States means anytime two or more people come together in a closed area. All people coming together in a closed area are aliens or foreigners, because all 7 billion people on planet Earth are alien to each other. They all have different beliefs based on their educational foundations, and all the paperwork that they file in court, the papers themselves are vessels. The papers are treated as foreign vessels coming into a foreign vessel in the courthouse itself. Now, we live in America, and the American flag is 1 to 1.9. Red, white, and blue is our three colors. But when you walk into a courtroom, you're in a courtroom with a yellow fringe flag, and that has 4 colors on it. So therefore, it's a foreign vessel. Now, the court, the jurisdiction of the court, is also a foreign vessel. Now, a lot of this information you can find when you research under the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 44 and 44.1. Now, along about 1905 in the United States, at the World Court at The Hague and the Treaty of Versailles, arguments were made between the different courts worldwide because, and when World War I ended, it was supposed to be the war to end wars, and they had to set up court systems that were articulating the jurisdiction of all the different people in all the different arguments based on the trespass of jurisdictional questions. When you went to court, you always, the judge says, well, you have to give me jurisdiction. And the paperwork that you sign, one of the first paragraphs on all of your complaints and lawsuits is that you give the judge jurisdiction to hear the case. Well, if you're a foreign entity coming together in a foreign court, your paperwork is foreign. The judge now, when you give him discretion over the words on the paper and the vessel of your body, you are giving him the power to make a determination as to what communications you're going to talk in. Now, attorneys are licensed to practice in that fiction jurisdiction, or I'll rephrase that, in the foreign jurisdiction. In the past, I've called it a fiction. Well, and when you modify a fact into something other than its original volition or original condition, it then becomes a fiction, a perjury, a lie, a misrepresentation, all of which are foreign to the conditions of the court venue. So when as an individual coming into a courtroom, you believe that you have actually joined with the court, the only thing you've done is gave yourself over as a servant, or what I call a vassalee, V-A-S-S-A-L-E-E. It was a word that I had created about 9 years ago and copyrighted it, and it's been used ever since. It means you are a servant employee of the courtroom and of the vessel in the court. Now, the court goes ahead and they have local rules that they publish, and everyone seems to interpret these rules differently when they go to file lawsuits. And these local rules, when they're written in the books, are written in adverb-verb. They don't use prepositional phrases. They create, and I'm going to use the quote, no facts, no law. And no as an adverb modifies the verb law and the verb fact. As we all know, a verb is an action. Well, if thinking is an action, and the word motion is an action, that's why attorneys file motions. They're advertising the fact that it's going to be a verb, but where are the facts? So because we read all these rules that say no law and no rules, and we walk into the court and the judge knows that this means that we are going to be in a condition, a negative condition of the state of the mind. And so everything is no parking, don't run.
Yeah.
And plausible deniability is the most obvious of all human responses. What was the first word you learned between the ages of 1 and 5? No, don't touch that. Don't reach up there. Don't spill your milk. Don't waste food. Everything was don't. So you wind up growing up in a negative condition of thinking. And this goes all the way back to the beginning of time, this communication of don't, no, negative.
Yeah, and the drug companies may have a field day selling drugs to try to recondition people's past, and drugs aren't going to do it when people don't really understand why.
Yeah, don't get sick, don't throw up, don't have a headache. Everything is based on the don't.
Exactly.
So where is the performance? See, in my technology, when we create a contract, the contract is a vessel. The vessel is bonded together. When you read the rules of what is required to go into court, you must have a stamp. In other words, a postage stamp on the vessel to pay for its freight. You must sign across the stamp, making you a postmaster to transport the vessel of the paper to the court, because the court is a foreign vessel from the sovereign territory of the condition of state to where you live. You must also endorse the value of your contract. Don't you endorse your personal checks at the bank when you cash them? You sign across the top of the back. How many of you listening have ever signed across the top of the back of the lawsuit you filed in court? Probably none of you.
Good point.
Now, a few weeks ago, we were going through some old documents. One of them from my father when he bought his first house in 1952. And you know, his mortgage contract had postage stamps stuck on it, and the bank officer and my father and the person selling the house all signed their names across the postage stamp to pay for the freight of moving the title of the property between point A and point B. In other words, changing titles.
Yeah, they don't do that today, do they, Judge?
I do.
Well, I mean,
and I instruct all my people to do the same thing.
We're really aware of though anymore, is it?
Well, it's still required.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And just like the United States Supreme Court. Now, when they wrote the Constitution, thou was an adverb modifying the verb Constitution.
Right.
Well, the Constitution was a condition of state. It was supposed to be a title to fact for the Constitution, of the Constitution, with the Constitution. See, CON means contract. So they should have made the word Constitution or contract to be a fact. Instead, they made it a verb.